The Young and the Restless spoilers. Friday's full, the 10th of July, 2026. The next episode of The Young and the Restless promises to pull several emotional threads tighter at the same time, and the most frightening one may once again revolve around Jack Abbott, whose recovery is about to be threatened by Patty Williams in a way that could change everything. Just when the Abbott family begins to believe there may still be a path toward truth, healing, and justice, Patty's desperation pushes her into another dangerous move. This time, she does not come at Jack openly. She does not arrive as the unstable woman everyone should be watching. Instead, she hides behind a nurse's disguise, slipping into the hospital environment where Jack is supposed to be protected, and that makes her even more dangerous. The hospital should be the one place where Jack can recover without fear, where doctors can monitor him, where his family can finally breathe for a moment after the chaos of the stabbing and the accusations against Diane Jenkins Abbott. But Patty understands that Jack waking up is the greatest threat to her freedom. If Jack remembers what happened, if he can speak clearly and identify her role in the attack, Diane's legal nightmare begins to unravel, and Patty's lies collapse. That is why Patty's syringe is more than just another shocking soap weapon. It represents her final attempt to control the truth before the truth destroys her. Patty's plan seems simple on the surface, but emotionally, it is loaded with panic and calculation. She disguises herself as a nurse because that is the only way to get close enough to Jack without immediately raising suspicion. She knows the guards are watching, she knows the Abbotts are suspicious, and she knows Diane and Kyle Abbott are getting closer to proving that she is guilty. Yet Patty also benefits from the small weaknesses around her. A distracted guard, a short coffee break, a quiet corridor, a moment of confusion at the nurse's station, all of these ordinary details become openings for someone as reckless as Patty. Once she is inside Jack's room, everything becomes a matter of seconds. She can listen, observe, and perhaps even hear enough to realize that Jack's awareness is returning faster than she expected. That may be what pushes her from fear into action. If Jack is close to remembering, then Patty cannot afford to wait. The syringe in her hand becomes her answer to a problem she created herself. Whether the substance inside is meant to kill, sedate, confuse, or push Jack back into unconsciousness, the intention is unmistakable. Patty wants Jack silenced again. The terrifying part is that this attack may not immediately look like an attempted murder. If the drug does not kill Jack outright, it could still do serious damage to his recovery. It could make him slip into a deeper coma, weaken his body, cloud his memories, or create a medical setback that leaves doctors struggling to explain why a patient who was improving suddenly takes a dangerous turn. In Patty's mind, that may be enough. She may not need Jack dead if she can keep him unable to testify. She may believe that as long as Jack remains confused or unconscious, Diane remains vulnerable, and the accusations against Diane remain useful. That is the cruel brilliance of her move. Patty does not just attack Jack's body. She attacks the only piece of evidence Diane truly needs: Jack's voice. Without Jack's statement, Diane and Kyle have suspicion, instinct, and fragments of proof, but they may still struggle to convince the police. With Jack awake and clear, everything changes. Patty knows that, which is why she is willing to risk another hospital invasion to stop it. Diane and Kyle, meanwhile, are racing against time, and their fear is becoming sharper because they are no longer dealing with an ordinary frame-up. At first, Diane's nightmare was about being accused of hurting the man she loves. Then it became a fight to prove that Patty was manipulating the situation. Now it becomes a desperate effort to keep Jack alive before Patty can finish what she started. Diane knows what is at stake. She understands that Jack's survival is not only personal but also legal and moral. If Jack wakes and remembers, he can clear her name. He can expose Patty. He can begin repairing the damage done to their family. But if Patty reaches him first, Diane may lose the man she loves and lose her best chance at freedom at the same time. That gives Diane every reason to act boldly, even dangerously. The leaked image from months ago, showing Patty in surgical clothing facing off against an unidentified hooded woman, now feels more important than ever. That woman could easily be Diane, prepared to fight not only for her freedom but also for Jack's life. If Diane confronts Patty inside the hospital, the scene could become one of the defining moments of this storyline. Two women standing on opposite sides of Jack's fate, one trying to preserve the truth and the other trying to bury it forever. Kyle's role in this crisis is equally important because he is caught between fear for his father and fury over what has been done to his mother. Kyle already believes Patty is guilty and Diane knows it too, but belief is not the same as proof. That is where the frustration with Detective Burrow becomes impossible to ignore. For a big city detective, Burrow seems far too willing to accept convenient explanations, especially when those explanations point toward Diane. Instead of digging deeper, following Patty's movements, questioning the suspicious timing around the hospital, or recognizing how perfectly Diane has been positioned as the scapegoat, Burrow appears to keep circling back to the easiest suspect. Kyle may see this as more than incompetence. He may begin to suspect that the investigation is being shaped by bias, laziness, or even outside influence. Every second Burrow wastes is another second Patty can use. Every wrong assumption gives her more space to move. If the guard notices something strange too late, or if the hospital staff realizes that the nurse in Jack's room does not belong there, it may be Kyle and Diane who respond fastest because they are the ones who understand Patty's pattern. They know she is not finished. They know Jack is still in danger. And they know that if the police will not protect Jack properly, the family may have to do it themselves. While Jack's hospital crisis escalates, the episode also appears ready to bring more emotional development for Lily Winters and Cain Ashby. Their renewed connection has been moving quickly, but in soap opera terms, speed often reflects unfinished emotion. Lily and Cain were never strangers with a simple attraction. They carry history, wounds, memories, regrets, and a bond that was never fully erased. That is why Cain showing a softer side of himself matters so much. Lily may tell herself that she is being careful, that she understands the risks, that she cannot simply fall back into old patterns. But how can she ignore the man who helped save Malcolm Winters? How can she remain emotionally distant from someone who shows not only bravery, but tenderness? Cain's actions may remind Lily of the parts of him she once loved most. Not the ambition, not the schemes, not the complications, but the quiet devotion underneath all of it. When Cain allows himself to be vulnerable, Lily may see a man who has changed, or at least a man who wants to be better. That can be more dangerous than charm, because vulnerability can reach places that charm cannot. The deepening romance between Lily and Cain may also complicate Lily's sense of control. She is not the kind of woman who wants to be swept away blindly. She has lived through enough heartbreak to know that feelings are not always reliable. Yet the heart does not respond to logic on command. The more Cain shows patience, gentleness, and concern, the harder it becomes for Lily to keep him at arm's length. His role in saving Malcolm gives him emotional credibility, but his softer behavior gives him personal power. Lily may begin to ask herself whether she is seeing Cain clearly or seeing the version of Cain she has always wanted to believe in. That question could become the center of their romantic tension. If Cain is truly changing, then Lily may be standing at the beginning of a second chance. But if Cain is still hiding ambition behind tenderness, then Lily could be walking into familiar pain with her eyes open. The episode may not answer that question completely, but it can deepen the emotional pull between them by showing that Cain knows how to reach Lily when he stops trying to impress her and starts showing her his heart. At the same time, Jill Abbott faces her own emotional mission with Billy Abbott, and this one may be just as difficult as stopping Patty, though in a very different way. Jill wants Billy to put their differences aside, but Billy is not someone who can move forward without understanding the wound behind the argument. He wants to know why Jill pushed him out of Chancellor in the first place. To Jill, the answer may be complicated, painful, or even protective. To Billy, the silence feels like betrayal. He cannot simply accept a vague appeal for peace when his pride, his position, and his trust have all been damaged. Billy has never been easy to manage, and he often turns pain into defiance, but that does not mean he is wrong to demand answers. If Jill wants reconciliation, she cannot ask Billy to ignore the past while refusing to explain it. That is the central problem between them. Jill wants to repair the relationship before it is too late, but Billy wants the truth before he can decide whether repair is even possible. Billy's suspicion that there is another reason behind Jill's decision may become the real fuel of this confrontation. He knows Jill well enough to sense when something does not add up. If she removed him from Chancellor for business reasons alone, why does the situation feel so personal? If she believed he was truly unfit, why is she now trying so hard to bring him emotionally closer? If she acted to protect him, why will she not say so? These unanswered questions may push Billy into a defensive posture, and when Billy feels cornered, he can become sharp, reckless, and impossible to persuade. Jill may try to appeal to family, legacy, and the future, but Billy may keep dragging the conversation back to one point. Why did she do it? Until Jill answers that honestly, her attempt at peace may fail. Yet this could also be Jill's last chance to reach him before resentment hardens into something permanent. Their relationship has always been defined by fierce love and fierce disappointment, and this scene could remind viewers that family wounds often hurt more than romantic betrayals because they come from people who are supposed to know us best. Nikki Newman's recovery adds another layer of tension to the episode because her healing is not just physical. After major surgery, Nikki may be trying to adjust to uncertainty around her eyesight, her body, and her future. Every small sign matters. A flicker of light, a shadow, a doctor's cautious update, a moment of dizziness, all of it can feel enormous when someone is fighting to reclaim normal life. But Nikki's medical recovery may soon collide with the darker truth surrounding Victor Newman. Her marriage to Victor has survived betrayals, secrets, separations, reconciliations, and wars that would have destroyed almost anyone else. Yet there are some secrets that can still cut too deeply, especially if they connect Victor to Jack's stabbing or to the chain of events that placed Jack in mortal danger. If Nikki learns that Victor was involved in the attack on Jack, whether directly, indirectly, or through a secret that makes him responsible in a way he cannot easily explain, the consequences could be explosive. Nikki may already be vulnerable, but vulnerability does not make her weak. If anything, it may make her less willing to tolerate Victor's manipulation. The idea that Victor's secrets could ignite another family war fits perfectly with the emotional landscape of Genoa City. Victor often believes he is acting for the greater good, especially when protecting family or controlling enemies, but his version of protection usually comes with lies. If Nikki discovers that he concealed something about Jack's attack, she may feel betrayed not only as a wife but as a woman who has been forced to recover while everyone around her decides what she is allowed to know. That could shatter her patience. Nikki and Jack share a long and complicated history, and even if Victor sees Jack as a rival, Nikki may not be able to forgive any role Victor played in harming him. The Newman family could then be pulled into another internal conflict, with Victoria, Nick, and others forced to choose between loyalty to Victor and concern for Nikki's moral outrage. Victor may try to justify himself. He may insist that things are not what they seem, that Patty is the immediate threat, that Diane's situation is a separate matter, or that he had reasons no one else understands. But Nikki may hear only one thing. Victor hid the truth while Jack nearly died. That is where the episode's different storylines begin to echo each other. Patty wants to silence Jack because his truth can destroy her. Jill wants Billy to move forward without fully explaining her own truth. Cain wants Lily to see his softer truth, but she may still wonder whether he is hiding something. Victor may be keeping a truth from Nikki that could detonate their marriage and their family. Everywhere in Genoa City, someone is trying to control what another person knows. And as always on The Young and the Restless, the more people try to manage the truth, the more violently it tends to break free. Jack's hospital room becomes the most literal version of that theme because his voice is the key. If Patty can silence him, the lies survive. If Jack wakes, remembers, and speaks, the entire balance shifts. Diane may be vindicated. Kyle may finally gain leverage. Patty may be exposed. Burrow may be forced to confront his failures, and Victor's secrets, if connected to the larger web, may become harder to hide. The danger for Jack may therefore be both medical and symbolic. His body is weak, but his memory is powerful. His recovery threatens everyone who needs the past to stay buried. Patty's syringe may be designed to push him back into darkness, but it could also become the clue that proves how far she was willing to go. If the guard returns and sees something wrong, if Diane catches Patty in the act, if Kyle arrives at the right second, or if hospital cameras capture Patty's disguise, then her desperate move could backfire spectacularly. Instead of eliminating the threat, she may create the evidence that Diane and Kyle desperately need. But if Patty succeeds even partially, Jack could slip into a coma again, and the Abbott family would be plunged into another round of fear. Diane would be devastated, Kyle would be enraged, and the police would have to explain how a disguised woman managed to reach a high-risk patient under their watch. Patty may believe she is cleaning up the mess, but she may actually be making it impossible for anyone to ignore the truth. For Diane, the confrontation with Patty could become a defining moment because it gives her the chance to prove through action what she has been saying all along. She is not the danger to Jack. She is the woman trying to save him. If she is the hooded figure from the leaked image, then her willingness to face Patty directly shows that she is no longer content to wait for the system to catch up. Diane has been cornered by suspicion, but desperation can also produce courage. She may risk her own safety because Jack's life matters more than her fear. That kind of choice could shift how others see her. Even those who still doubt Diane may struggle to dismiss her if she literally stands between Patty and Jack. In a storyline where Diane has been framed as the villain, the writers may be preparing to show her as the protector, and that reversal could be emotionally satisfying if it comes at a high enough cost. By the end of the episode, viewers may be left with several burning questions. Will Patty manage to inject Jack and send him back into a coma? Or will Diane and Kyle stop her before the syringe does irreversible damage? Will Detective Burrow finally realize that Diane has been telling the truth? Or will his poor judgment allow Patty more time to escape? Will Lily let herself believe in Cain's softer side, or will old wounds keep her guarded? Will Jill tell Billy the real reason she pushed him away from Chancellor, or will her last attempt at peace collapse under the weight of another secret? And as Nikki begins the long road back from surgery, will Victor's hidden role in Jack's crisis become the spark that sets the Newman family against itself again? The episode is not just about one attack, one romance, or one family argument. It is about the cost of buried truths. Patty may think a nurse's disguise and a syringe can protect her, but every desperate move she makes only tightens the noose around her. If Jack survives long enough to speak, if Diane reaches him in time, and if Kyle finally gets the proof he needs, then Patty's attempt to silence Jack may become the very mistake that exposes her. But if Jack falls back into darkness before anyone can stop her, the Abbott family may wake up to a new nightmare, one where Diane is still under suspicion, Fanny is still dangerous, and the one man who can reveal everything is once again trapped in silence.